What is so amazing about ancient Greek theater is that even though it's the earliest form of theater known to man, it is also considered to be some of the greatest plays ever written. These early Greek playwrights were not only pioneers of the art form, they are still considered some of the greatest playwrights of all time. Even though the ancient religious festivals yielded a large number of tragedies written by countless playwrights, we are really only aware of most of them from ancient records and oral history. Of all the playwrights of ancient Greek tragedy, only the partial works of 3 of them have survived to modern times. Those playwrights are Aeschylus, Sophocles, and Euripides. We have the partial works of only one comic playwright of the period, Aristophanes. The tragedies of ancient Greece were always performed as a part of the religious festivals of the period, most notably the city Dionysia in honor of the Greek god of wine and fertility, Dionysus. The festival included a competition between playwrights who wrote the tragedies that would be performed during the entire week of the festival. The tragedies were presented as trilogies. A trilogy was a group of 3 tragedies that were performed in order. Each of the tragedies that made up the trilogy would have recurring characters in either a theme or historical event that tied the 3 tragedies of the trilogy together. Sadly, there is only one trilogy that has survived from this period. It is often referred to as the Oresteia. The Oresteia is made up of 3 tragedies, Agamemnon, Electra, and Orestes. It was written by the playwright we will consider first. The playwright whose surviving tragedies are the oldest in record is Aeschylus. As a result, Aeschylus is often referred to as the father of tragedy. He is believed to have lived from 525 BC to 455 BC. Besides the Oresteia, his best-known tragedy is entitled The Persians. Of the 70 tragedies that he wrote, only 7 have survived to the modern times. Aeschylus is credited with introducing the second actor to Greek tragedy. With this innovation, 2 actors could apply the use of masks to play several characters, but now there could be a dialogue between characters rather than just one character and the choral leader. A second tragic playwright whose work still exists today is Sophocles. Sophocles is believed to have lived from 496 BC to 406 BC. It is believed that he wrote nearly 120 plays during his lifetime, of which only 7 have survived. The most famous of these are the Oedipus plays, most notably Oedipus Rex, or Oedipus the King. Oedipus Rex is the first drama to tell the story, common even today in literature, theater, and film, of the man who is searching for the culprit of a terrible crime only to learn that he is searching for himself. It is by virtue of this drama that early pioneer of psychoanalysis, Sigmund Freud, coined the phrase regarding a human condition that he referred to as the Oedipal complex. Sophocles is credited with adding a third actor to the staging of ancient Greek tragedies. Most of his plays feature 3 characters on the stage during each episode, with less interaction between the characters and the chorus. Many also attribute the theatrical innovation of scene painting to Sophocles. While there is no record regarding any dramatist winning more awards for the festivals than Sophocles, it is believed that the most popular tragic playwright among the people of this time was the ancient Greek playwright Euripides. It is believed that Euripides, a contemporary of Sophocles, introduced the 4th character to Greek tragedy and reduced the significance of the chorus even more than Sophocles. He also introduced strong women characters, which was very daring for this time period. He departed from other accepted practices of theater and was often criticized for satirizing Greek gods and heroes and depicting members of the slave class as intelligent. His tragedy, The Trojan Women, was shocking for the time, first, for focusing on the plight of women in society, and secondly, for making an anti-war statement. In this way, Euripides was the rebel of the 3 surviving Greek playwrights. Despite the fact that Euripides was often criticized and won fewer awards than Aeschylus and Sophocles for his tragedies, this seems at odds with the fact that of all the tragic playwrights of his time, Euripides has more than 18 plays survive into modern times. This can be attributed to the enormous popularity Euripides is believed to have among the members of the audience who attended the tragic contests of this time. Since comedy was not as popular as tragedy, we have the works of only one comic playwright from the ancient Greek period. Our comic playwright from this period is Aristophanes. Aristophanes is thought to have written about 40 plays, of which only 11 have survived to modern times. In many respects, Aristophanes seems to contradict what we know about comedy and comedians, that the comedian tends to go against the status quo. Aristophanes seemed to support the status quo in his comedies and tended to ridicule those who steered away from the expectations of society. In fact, there is a scene in Aristophanes' comedy The Frogs in which the ancient tragic playwright Euripides makes an appearance as a character and is the barb for many jokes. In fact, Euripides is made fun of in more than just one of Aristophanes' surviving comedies. Other characters who showed up in Aristophanes' plays, besides such mythological characters as Zeus and Hercules, include Plato, Socrates, Euripides, and even Aeschylus. The chorus of Aristophanes' plays were very comical in nature and were often identified in the title of his plays: the birds, the clouds, the frogs, and the wasps. Closely related to comedy is an early form of theater referred to as the Satyr Play. These were short plays that were presented at the end of a trilogy for the purpose of spoofing the characters in the preceding tragedies. There are no complete satyr plays to survive into the modern age, but there are fragments which give us a sense of what these plays must have been like. The satyr play was a burlesque-like presentation that was often very bawdy and provocative. There seemed to be an element of freedom from propriety with these plays, unlike comedy and tragedy. They made fun of not only the tragedies that preceded them, but of elements of respectable society. In this way, they seem to be the early descendants of today's form known as satire. We can see that with the increase of the number of actors who take part in the tragedies with each successive playwright of ancient Greek theater, and with the diminishing importance of the chorus, the most directly religious aspect of the Greek tragedies, along with the decreasing importance of the altar or thymele, that the evolution of theater moved away from its religious roots during this time toward a more secular art form, which became autonomous or became an art form in and of itself. There we have the beginnings of theater. It's time for you to go to your task and complete the assignments there. Next, we will take a look at the various spaces used in theater and see how theater spaces affect the staging techniques in our theater today. See you on the other side of your assignment.